Well, I am the weak party. Olive branches I preserve of the strong, or those who claim to be strong. And in my weak corner, I can only be mute and pray to live another day. When the strong are mobilizing mobs against me, against my children, against my family, against everything I do, then the only divine preserve for me is to retreat and pray for another day to live.
Mathias Mpuuga has come out to reveal that Bobi Wine should give him an olive branch. In fact, when he was talking about this, he came out to say that he is in a weaker position to give an olive hand. Normally, a strong person is supposed to pardon a weak person. So Mathias Mpuuga came out, to say that he's weaker than Bobi Wine and that he's ready to work with Bobi Wine if Bobi Wine gives him an olive hand. We all know how the fallout began, and I think possibly it was because of Mathias Mpuuga. Even before the 500 million, Mathias Mpuuga wanted to take over the NUP party. He thought that he's more superior than his boss. Normally, in politics, that thing normally happens. When you think that you are well deserved, because Mathias Mpuuga had stayed in politics for almost 20 years before Bobi Wine, so he thought that he was more senior, not knowing that sometimes leaders are chosen by God. And remember, sometimes politics, you need to be a fighter for you to be up there. Bobi Wine is. Mathias Mpuuga used to stay in politics without him risking. They feel comfortable in their position other than risking. Bobi Wine went in parliament, I think, for 2.5 years, 2 and something months. He risked and ran for the president. That's why he's even is a force to reckon up with. Yet some person, even when there was a void here, most especially here in the central, never dared to risk. So in this episode, I've come to talk about Mathias Mpuuga's statement of asking Bobi Wine to give him an olive hand, what it means for our politics, and most importantly, the study materials we can learn from the politics of our nation. But before I do this, I want to know if you are new to this channel, please subscribe. And if you are watching this video from a different platform, please head on to YouTube, type in Sula Mawagri. There's a lot of content of this nature. If geopolitics and economics is what you want, this will be definitely the right channel for you to subscribe to. So, Mathias Mpuuga, truth be told, there is a bigger stone that was put on his career by Bobi Wine, by making him the deputy president of Uganda and making him the leader of opposition. In fact, Mathias Mpuuga was only limited to massacre. When he was given that platform, he was given a chance to shine. For example, J. Sonye was known as a journalist, but giving him the Kosase committee and the leader of opposition, he was elevated to a national MP. Because being the leader of opposition, you are elevated. There are some people I knew because they were occupying that space. Like Ochan, Beatrice Ochan, I think Ochan from the Guru Odokolo, Northern Region. When you are in that office, you attain national character. Winnie Kiza was given a chance. Nandana Mafai rose to prominence because of that office. So a person who gives you that office has really added value on you. That is not contested. In fact, I'm surprised to see that Mathias Mpuuga used to chase them that is the one who brought Bobi Wine to the center. Who told you that? So for him coming out to say that he's ready to work with Bobi Wine, he understands it that here in the central, no one can beat Bobi Wine. Trust me. In fact, even Mathias Mpuuga's parliament, I know he may be elected again, but he may get elected after working so hard to win that position. Yet if he works with Bobi Wine, maybe it reduces the risk. So before I talk about this, I want to play a clip when Mathias Mpuuga was ascertaining or asking Bobi Wine to be given an olive hand. Here's the tape.
The Honorable Kyagulanyi was trying to command a mob against me. They have now elevated it to my family, my children, my relatives. That's the lowest. So I don't want to discuss such behavior because it's not behavior of a serious person.
Yeah, but it's also reflecting.
It's actually behavior of a wicked group of people. And the only space I can have them to explain their behavior is court. Well, Simon, I think about a year ago, I had a long conversation with my spiritual father, and he educated me on the concept of reconciliation. He told me that reconciliation is a divine concept. It's not a human concept. That it derives from divinity. It's not a convenient concept. And it's not for the wicked. Reconciliation is not for people who are evil. It's for people that have an understanding of the sanctity of human life and human beings. So, where I do not see that, the concept of reconciliation is alien. Therefore, given the divine nature of reconciliation, I do not see my adversaries, I thought they were political adversaries, would move to the center and move away from their wicked ways to move to reconcile. Therefore, I don't want to invoke concepts alien to the other party.
Yeah, but it takes an ingenious politician like you to reach out and extend an olive branch and then cause a reconciliation.
Well, I am the weak party. Olive branches I preserve of the strong, or those who claim to be strong. And in my weak corner, I can only be mute and pray to live another day. When the strong are mobilizing mobs against me, against my children, against my family, against everything I do, then the only divine preserve for me is to retreat and pray for another day to live.
That is Mathias Mpuuga. Okay, so first of all, I don't think that Bobi Wine will accept that because right now, I don't think that Bobi Wine can give Mathias Mpuuga a chance. Maybe later, but now there are some irreconcilable differences, the abuses, everything. And even Bobi Wine knows this at the back of his hand. Normally, the politician who had a lot of experience in politics thought that he was a little pushover. And I think it is one of the reasons as to why even when they were giving out pathetic texts, some of the people were cut off because politics is so jealous. Okay? Bobi Wine knew this. Let me tell you one thing. One of the people who get a lot of intelligence is a leader. Be it the president. A party leader gets more intelligence. It may be wrong and right intelligence from his party the most. So all the ratings were on the whole that Mathias Mpuuga wanted to take over the party because members of parliament used to praise him, not knowing that the position which he was occupying was courtesy of Bobi Wine, where he got the 500 million shillings. I remember when they passed the new constitution that MP should serve 2 terms, the first person who came out to oppose was Mathias Mpuuga. When you're holding a position in a certain entity, even if you come out to oppose, you must not do that publicly. At least you do it in a conventional way. Because in an entity, in an organization, differences are there, but the way you handle differences. So it was something which shows that maybe Mathias Mpuuga was up to something. You are the deputy of someone in Uganda, you are the leader of opposition. At least even if you have to oppose, do it within the structures. Coming out to the news, you are trying to create another power center. That's why those differences arose. But saying that you are ready to work with Bobi Wine, so also one, a sign of maturity, but 2, you would also want to appear weak so that you can gain sympathy from the voters. Okay? And I think right now that thing will not happen. Maybe in the near future, but right now I don't see any cooperation between Mathias Mpuuga and Bobi Wine because of the differences. In fact, I remember when the battle was going on, there are some elements within the Uganda kingdom who wanted to get sides. Foot soldiers took them on until they kept quiet, and I think that was the right thing to do. Because if the kingdom normally takes sides between its 2 sons, you have, most especially, and you take a side of a weaker person, they'll come at you. Nowadays, I think they retreated, even the Pokno from Masaka. So I don't see the working between themselves in a near future, maybe later, because in politics, there are no permanent enemies. Of course, that's my opinion. Do drop me your comments by commenting about this. Thank you very much for listening in. If this is your first time on this channel, I implore you to subscribe, like, and comment so that I can be motivated to do more of such videos. I'll see you on another one. Peace.
Kusaba kimuze mpala na bulungi. Abampala no bulungi. Nange benjagala obulungi.